troops, welcome back to the channel. It's Dan from Hades Airsoft. Today we're going to be looking at what to pack for a Milsim. A lot of people have been asking me, given all the content on Instagram recently, what to pack for a Milsim. We just finished a big one out here in Gran Canaria. So seeing as this kit was still floating around the garage, I thought it would be a good opportunity to give you a rundown. Just want to start off by saying, if you want to get hold of the list that I use, send me a DM on Instagram. It's at Hades_Airsoft_, and I'll quite happily send you a copy of my list. It's my version, like an adapted version of the last kit list I used in the army, so it's pretty accurate as to, if you want to be as accurate as possible, this is a good place to start. So send me a DM and I'll quite happily send that to you. Just want to quickly touch on the pack. The phrase Bergen, okay, you'll hear this quite a lot, especially if you're interested in like British forces. The Bergen is like a big pack for one person, or indeed sometimes two people, to use out on operations. Now, it's become a bit of a catch-all term recently for like any kind of large pack. So we are going to call this a Bergen. It's not a Bergen. This is an old school camelback motherload from way back in the day. What I would say is this kind of pack, if you want to use a smaller pack, it's kind of dependent on the climate that you're going to be working in. So, for example, out here in the Canaries, because it's quite a hot climate, I can use quite a small sleeping bag, which you'll see later on in the video, which means I can use a smaller pack. The bigger the sleeping bag, the bigger the pack, because the sleeping bag always needs to be waterproofed inside the pack, okay? If you do want to go for this kind of pack, you can supplement with pouches on the outside. I'm a very big fan of that because, as you'll see, I like certain things to be accessed quite quickly. Okay, so we'll go into that in a second. The first thing I want to talk about is what I use to cover up this table, which is a poncho or ground sheet. Okay, this is what we use in the army to build our bashers. A basher is just like a shelter that we used out on operations, typically in kind of like woodland, forest environments, but you can set them up anywhere. And this is used in conjunction with some bungees, okay, anywhere between 2 and 4 bungees, and tent pegs. So we've got two types here, some aluminium ones and some plastic ones. We are going to do a video on how to set up a basher inside a woodland area, properly camouflage it up, probably we'll show how to live out of it and all that good stuff. So stay tuned for that video in the near future. So starting off then, how to build your shelter. Well, we'll use the tent pegs, the bungees, and the ground sheet or poncho to build that basher up, okay? So moving on to the pack itself. The stuff on the outside is kind of what I like to call admin and ammo, all right? Stuff that I need quickly. So starting off with admin then, on this side here, what we always need to take number one care of is our feet, okay? So in this pouch here, we've got some foot powder. This is admittedly quite a large one. I would probably say for just the average person, a small travel size one is adequate, but for me as a commander, we sometimes use talcum powder like this when we're building like a 3D model. We'll do a video on that as well, to mark out like roads and features and stuff like that. So that's why I've got a slightly big one. You'll see, guys, everything's got to be waterproof, all right? Doesn't matter where you're operating out in the Canaries, it can be sunshine one minute and rain in the next. So waterproof your kit, guys. So talcum powder or foot powder, 2 pairs of socks. It was a 36-hour event, so I went out into the field with 1 pair of socks on, and this was Saturday morning and Sunday morning. I would also suggest, if you're going on like an event where the weather might be quite wet, take 1 extra pair of socks as well, just in case. So that's one side there. And sticking with the kind of, you'll hear the phrase like admin, personal admin. That just means like personal care. So we've already touched on it there with the socks, and then we'll move on to the wash kit. Okay, so my wash kit, field wash kit, consists of wet wipes, obviously, you know, both for your personal care and also when nature calls. I would also suggest taking several smaller packets rather than one big one, just in case you lose or damage your main supply of wet wipes. You know, you're going to be caught short, so to speak. So I actually use probably one and a half of these over the 36 hours. And then my wash kit is literally this. It is again, travel size of deodorant, just to give myself a freshen up. We also can use deodorant, not antiperspirant, to erase any kind of permanent pen that we might use for maps or route cards, range cards, anything like that. And then also we've got a small travel size thing of toothpaste and a travel size toothbrush, or in this case just a toothbrush snapped in half, and some moisturiser. Do not be afraid to moisturise out in the field, ladies and gents, because everyone in my section over this event, because it was it was very dry, we all got like chapped lips. Everybody was dipping into the moisturiser to try and stave off the chapped lips. And then lastly for admin is just a spare pair of underwear. Okay, I don't tend to change like t-shirt, uniform and stuff like that, unless I needed to. I probably wouldn't even change this over the course of 36 hours. Just rough it out, but just in case, for the obvious, take a spare pair of underwear. So that's admin, and now moving on to ammo. On this side we've got the ammo that I used on the event was Bravo Tactical. 0.25 tracer, absolutely fantastic tracer ammo, the brightest tracer ammo I've seen so far. All right, so this, when we need to replenish our magazines, you need quick access to it. This is on the side here, okay. A small speed loader for secondary, okay. And on this side, we've just got the main speed loader for the main magazines. Now, there's a reason why I haven't got any BBs in here. That's because of the noise that they make. So what I would do to get around that is I would fill the speed loader up from the bag, fill the magazines up from the speed loader, and any leftover BBs that are in here, I tip back into that bag just to try and keep that kind of metal on metal, plastic on plastic sound reduced. Okay. So that's it, guys. Like literally 4 pouches on the outside, admin and ammo. We've got just these bits here, stuff that we need to access quickly. Okay, that is the key there. Moving on to the main pack itself, again, that kind of anything we need to access quickly theme will continue. So more pertinent to the main compartment, but certainly any other compartments that you might have, the stuff that you need quick access to, keep it close by. Chem lights, glow sticks, okay, these don't have to be the real deal versions if you can't get hold of them. These are really good. You'll get these from, like, you know, just typical glow sticks that you might use on a night out or like a party or something like that. These will give you the ability to do all sorts of like tactical stuff, like mark routes in and out, mark where you've put any tripwires, claymores, anything like that. But also just bits and pieces like marking your basher or shelter with a specific colour, so that when you come back during the night, you're not waking up your teammates. You can go straight to your shelter and get your head down. Okay. We've also got the power bank. Now, the power bank was absolutely fundamental in the on the event that we just did, because we couldn't have any kind of like generators or anything like that because of a forest fire risk, actually. So this power bank came in super useful. We charged up 2 or 3 phones, GoPros, and quite importantly, event-wise, the tracer attachment on the end of the rifts to make these tracer BBs glow in the dark. A couple of our guys would have had quite a short event if we didn't have this, and other ones similar, because they wouldn't have been able to recharge those tracer units. So absolutely fundamental that was. Sticking with the kind of similar sort of theme is lights. So we've got a head torch. This head torch is quite good because it's got a red setting and 2 white light settings. This is really good out here in the Canaries. At night times, we have to show a red light when we've been hit and eliminated. So that's kind of double function there as well. And then 2 white lights. And also, I always keep 1 change of fresh batteries taped to the back of the head torch, so that wherever the head torch goes, you know you've got a spare pair of batteries, spare change of batteries. What else have we got here? Okay, so medication. Okay, I like to keep all of my medication handy. Probably I would keep this on my person, but I thought this was a good opportunity to just mention, you know, don't forget your own, like any prescription medication, take that in the field with you. But anything else that, you know, maybe not prescription wise, like things for heartburn or indigestion or just random things like that will make you less comfortable and perhaps impact your enjoyment of the event, make sure you take those out into the field with you. Lighters, obviously for cooking and things like that, but also for a whole bunch of other reasons. Make sure you've always got a couple of lighters. Try and keep one on your person in like a pocket on your shirt or a mat pocket or something like that, and keep a spare one here in your pack. So that's that compartment done with. Moving on to the main compartment, we're going to start off again. Once we've got everything set up, the main thing we're going to be delving into this pack for is to cook, is to sustain ourselves. So to that end, I use the jet boil, and I keep my spoon as well, keep a spoon or spork in this case quite close by. The jet boil, absolutely fantastic piece of kit. I've had this now for probably close to 13, 14 years and it's still going strong. You can get them from Decathlon and places like that. They're usually about 80, 90 euros, something like that, maybe a little bit more, but they will last forever. So it's just a really compact cooking system with everything held inside. It's a gas cooking system that you fill up with water in here, and if you're using boiling the bag rations, which those are the ones that I was using, the bag will go in there, but also you can use that hot water to make teas, coffees, anything like that. So the jet boil there, really, really good bit of kit. And the rations then, again, if you can't get hold of real, you know, army rations or MREs or anything like that, don't worry too much. We'll probably do a video as well on how to build like a civilian ration. If you can't get hold of this sort of stuff. But this here is about 24 hours worth of food. There's 3 main meals and a bunch of snacks in there. So sticking with that theme for cooking, I always keep at least a litre of water in the pack itself, specifically for cooking. That will obviously need replenishing over the course of the event, but a minimum of a litre of water is prudent, I would say. So now we're going to look at sleeping system. So starting off with the bivy bag. Now, a bivy bag is essentially a waterproof outer sleeping bag. That goes, you put your sleeping bag inside this, you go inside the sleeping bag, and that gives you a waterproof layer to stop any water from perhaps the ground, or indeed if it rains and perhaps your shelter is letting in some water, or indeed sometimes we might use these if we go on like an extended patrol where when we're away from this pack, you can actually use this as kind of like an improvised sleeping bag. Obviously not as warm as a real sleeping bag, but has another double use there. So the bivy bag, really, really important piece of kit. So that's the outer layer of the sleeping bag. This is a Snug Pack sleeping bag. Probably one of the best sleeping bag brands out there, Snug Pack. Look into those guys. This is a jungle version, again, really nice and compact for the weather out here, with a bivy bag and a decent roll mat, which I'll show you in a second, more than adequate in kind of spring, summertime conditions. And the roll mat is from Decathlon. This is an inflatable roll mat, okay, the large version. Only weighs 510 grams. It is an absolute godsend because you're going to want to be comfortable. You want to be as comfortable as you possibly can on these events. Don't forget, we're doing Milsim and Airsoft to enjoy ourselves. So any kind of creature comforts you can get hold of, do that. All right. So this, like I say, an inflatable roll mat, absolutely gleaming piece of kit with the bivy bag and the sleeping bag. And I also take a small pillow as well. This is I'm not going to get out there, but it takes ages to get it back in. But you can get inflatable pillows. I'm not too much of a fan of those, but this is just a travel pillow I got out on tour. So my sleeping system will be pillow, sleeping bag, roll mat, and bivy bag. Also got a metal mug in there. I actually had this stored in there just for two reasons: to kind of prevent any kind of extra noise, but also just to make make use of every available space. But a metal mug, again, for cooking. If I don't have rations, I'll make some like ramen noodles or something like that. We'll do a whole video on what to eat in the field, guys. Don't worry, we'll cover all of that. But a metal mug, a really good bit of kit. And then what I'm going to finish off with is this is a bit of warm kit, this could be anything. This could be a jumper, a normal civilian jumper. It doesn't have to be anything special. It could be a fleece. I'm a fan of fleeces as well, but this is again British Forces issued softy, which is a really, really warm piece of kit. But it's nice and compact as well, which is what we want when we're doing all this. We want nice compact kit that goes inside those dry bags. Also got a wet weather poncho. We showed this on the previous video. But a wet weather poncho in conjunction with your warm kit, so wet and warm kit, will make sure that you're as comfortable as you can possibly be at any one time. It's not really meant for going out in the field like and patrolling, going on taskings with this on, because you can actually overheat, especially with like plate carriers and helmets and stuff on. But when you get back to your basher, you put a bit of warm kit on and just helps with boosting morale. So 36-hour Milsim, all what you see here. Remember, if you want the kit list, send me a DM on Instagram. Other than that, guys, keep your eyes peeled on the channel for future kind of Milsim related content. So setting up the bashers, setting up the shelter, setting up, feeding ourselves just from the supermarket rather than getting hold of these army rations. And we'll see you next time on the channel. Thanks for watching.